Welcome, Sith Spawn, to the Krayt Off-Topic official podcast, a behind-the-scenes look at the saga of Darth Krayt. I am the holocron of the long-dead Darth Krushneh, echoing from the tomb of Korriban's Valley of the Sith. This is your first lesson. Beginnings.
Welcome to the first ever episode of the Krayt Off-Topic official podcast. This is your host, Lord HopNScotch. And what this podcast is about is going to be a companion piece to the regular Darth Krayt audio drama. So if you remember back to the show Walking Dead, they had a companion show called Talking Dead, which was a behind-the-scenes look, interviewing actors, talking about what was going on, maybe even theorizing. And that's essentially what this will be. It'll come out after every episode of the Darth Krayt audio drama. So we'll have different guests. The format will be essentially Darth Krushneh will bring us in. I'll introduce the guests. We'll have some games. I'm especially excited about the Choose Your Own Adventure game. More on that next time. And we'll also find out a little bit from either the production staff or the actors themselves. So this is really going to be a great podcast. It's going to delve into everything you want to know about Krayt from the top down. But today's a little bit different. We're going to be kicking off our first episode with the trailer reactions. So the trailer just dropped for the audio drama, and I'm here with Scott, who, if some of you might not know me, Lord HopNScotch, I'm also the Rage Master on a podcast called Sci-Fi Malady, and Scott here is a longtime partner in crime with that. Actually, he's the founder of it, but that's another topic. Say hello, Scott.
What is your fear of using your real name on podcast still? I thought we got over that a long time ago on Malady.
Well, right now it's Lord HopNScotch here, so at any rate.
Okay, I'll just try to keep all of your names straight.
Good enough. So Scott is going to be here with me, and he actually knows almost nothing about Darth Krayt, which is all the more reason why he's here, because he's coming at this with fresh eyes. So he won't be looking at it thinking, why didn't you use that character or anything like that?
I am a Star Wars fan, and I am a fan of the original expanded universe to an extent, but I guess I lose the super Star Wars fan cred because I'm not following the Dark Horse comics and some of these Knights of the Old Republic and those, shall we say, permutations of the expanded universe. So I think it's good because I know Star Wars. I know the expanded universe, the original Legends series, until I bailed out in the never-ending, terrible Yuuzhan Vong arc somewhere around book 15 when it just never ended and it was the same book over and over and over again. But I think, I should be able to give some type of reaction to this that'll be an outsider's perspective that's familiar with the franchise.
That's right. So with that in mind, and afterwards, we're going to have a few other extra guests that will be able to answer some questions for us about the upcoming season 1. But without any further ado,
if they're talking right now, they can't because I've turned their mic down. But now I've got to turn it back up so that we can get the.
We'll introduce them after.
Trailer.
We're going to introduce them after the trailer. So let's give the Sith Spawn what they want, and let's watch that trailer.
Ash stumbled back to his family's tent in a daze. As soon as he saw his father, he felt his frustrations resurface.
They didn't have to suffer, Father. Shar, Zafa, Karak. They are our friends, our tribe. And you treat their lives like garbage.
You know we cannot retaliate, Asherad. It would only serve to raise the Hutt's ire and bring destruction down on the rest of the tribe.
Your father is right, Ash. The Hutt would just send more of his bounty hunters the next time the lizard and the witch return to us. Tonight, we will pack our encampment and find a new dune to settle besides.
If we don't fight soon...
Ash!
No! Let us defend ourselves, Father! We have the defenders and the hunters. We can save ourselves. if we plan and fight.
That is where you were wrong. This is not our land. It doesn't belong to anyone. We merely dwell upon it. We do not spill blood on what is not ours.
Blood is being spilled anyway. Our blood. And it will continue to flow unless we end this.
I know that this is difficult to accept, my love. If we fight back against the mercenaries, they will just stay longer, or hurt even more people. If we leave them be, eventually, they will leave us be. We move with the desert wind while Jabba's palace is chained to a rock. We will eventually be so far away, they will not be able to follow us.
You're saying that we must accept a slow death? Will some just get to die sooner than others?
Ash stormed from the tent, unable to look at his parents anymore.
Don't leave! Come back here!
Suddenly, his wrappings felt too tight, and he was all too aware of his ragged breath. His frustrations surged as he looked upon his fellow tribesmen. They were Tuskens, not beggars dressed in tatters, to be casually disposed of by the whim of a tyrant. Turning on his heel, he broke into a run in search of his bantha, the tents turning to heaps of rags, tethered together by crooked sticks and clumsy stitches in his mind. His bantha, grunted as he threw himself on its back. He needed to get away from the suffocating noise of the tribe and hear the song of the desert.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Okay, so wow. So this is honestly the first audio drama I've really looked at in my life, says Spawn. And I got to say, I'm missing out. My first thought, and Scott, I'll have you chime in next, is first of all, I'm impressed by the art, especially knowing that that's original art. That wasn't lifted from Google or another Star Wars book. The two other things that really struck out, aside from the good voice acting, was the sound effects and the music. That really enhances the scene. Like when Sharad is running from his parents and the music starts to swell with his anger. That, I thought, kept me going. That actually made me more interested. And when he jumps on the bantha and it starts to close out, I'm thinking, wait, I want to see the rest of it. Where's he going? So that's my initial reaction. What about you, Scott?
I think you're going to dispel a lot of myths or misconceptions potentially about fan fiction. Certainly there's, you hear the word fan fiction, and this is a fan fiction adaptation audio drama. But you think about that as being more amateurish, maybe like some of the skits that we do at the beginning of our other podcast. But what I heard there, I wouldn't have known that those were amateur voice actors. I would have thought that was up to video game vignette quality. And I was very impressed with that and the nuance and the range within the reading, and it didn't seem like people were reading that off of a script. It was very natural, the pacing, the delivery, the timing. I was very impressed with that. And I was also impressed with the dialogue as it was written and a lot of the narration. I thought that it was believable. And I think that, maybe some people like George Lucas could take a lesson in how to write dialogue from what just happened there. Because it was a lot better than I would have expected. And I think that, as you said, the art being original art, I'm blown away because that definitely looks like stuff that I would expect to see on a loading screen in between video games. I think it's very high quality. And I think when people hear the word, they realize they're doing a fan adapted audio play or listening to that audio drama, they expect a drop off in quality. And I was very impressed at the quality that I just heard in that trailer. I'm interested and I'm hooked.
I couldn't agree more. This is a great example. I've argued that the fans are doing the best work these days, regardless of your avenue, regardless if it's toys or fiction of some kind, or to some extent even video games. Some of the best work out there is fan made, and this is definitely an example of that. So initial reactions seem all positive. So
I will say the other thing that I really liked about that is that and I know it's an adaptation of the Darth Krayt, but I was intrigued by the fact that we're getting more information about the Tusken Raiders rather than just being people who are background. They're basically background scenery
thugs, yeah.
in A New Hope and Jedi. And an interesting conversation there about not standing and fighting versus the stand and fight. And I could only think that similar debates must have went on the North American continent from about 1650 to 1880.
Yeah, with Native Americans.
And
right.
that it just eventually, it's a theory that there's so much land here we can keep moving and eventually they won't want the rest of it. But how does that work out in the end? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I saw the parallel there. Maybe that's just my history obsessed mind not being able to see it, but I definitely couldn't help but be drawn to that.
That's just you, but that's actually a real legitimate, what you would call a theater experience, that you were able to link it and invest yourself in the story and be more interested that way.
Yeah, it's the thing. I often say when we're reviewing things that the key to anything is having characters that you like and characters that you're vested in. And in that brief little vignette there, trailer, I'm definitely intrigued with Asherat immediately. Mm-hmm. Maybe less so with his parents, but I'm definitely intrigued with this journey here because you've got this angst-ridden young man who wants to stand and fight, and he's trying to convince a group of people who don't value standing and fighting that if they don't draw a line, eventually everything they hold dear will be eliminated. There's pride there. There's determination. And it'll be interesting to see how, you're setting up a journey immediately.
Right.
And where that's going to go. You're starting with a character arc. And we complain a lot in a lot of professional works that there's not a character arc. And I think it's pretty intriguing that you're seeing immediately the groundwork for a character arc.
That's right. That's right. And I would say also that there's something, again, with that voice acting, this is more believable. And as I like to say too, that in Star Wars, you've always had kind of this plethora of different accents. There's never been just one dominant, they all sound American or North American, as it were. But here, because of the nature of the production, which we'll get into in a minute, you're getting different accents, which kind of shows you the vastness of the galaxy.
Yeah, and it's what you should expect. That was another thing. I love the diversity in the inflection and the accents that you're getting there right off the rip. And that's wonderful because too many times, by the nature of filming in the way that it used to be, everybody sounded the same.
Right.
And that's good because it immerses you into the setting, which is incredibly important in audio drama. And then the emoting that was in there and emoting in film acting is tough, but it's another challenge in voice acting because you only have your voice and your inflection to emote and put the listener in touch with your own emotional state. And to me, the highlight of good writing and good performance is when I, as the listener or the viewer or the reader, feel that I have placed myself into the character's emotional state and I'm there with them. And immediately I can hear the mother's concern and I can hear the father drawing a line to kind of reel in his defiant son. And I can definitely get to the son's defiance.
Right.
And it's all there and it all drags me in immediately. And it's not done with a visual, as good as the artwork is. It's done with the talent of the voice actor and actress there, along with a good score.
Yep.
That matches up perfectly, which is another challenge that is understated until you try to pair music and score with a scene.
That's right. That's right. So and as a final note, before we introduce our guests, I would say that was approximately 4 minutes. I think it didn't feel like it at all. In fact, as it was wrapping up, I thought, wait, it's already done?
Yeah, I was I thought Rux said it was going to be a 4-minute trailer. And I'm like, there's no way that was 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
That's a good sign too.
Right.
When you lose track of time, That's a good sign that you were immersed into the environment. And again, I say that's hard to do. And the other thing, the last thing I'll say, I felt like I was watching a story in the Star Wars universe. And
Absolutely.
too often when listening to a story in the Star Wars universe, too often when people want to play in someone else's sandbox, they forget that it is someone else's sandbox with rules. And, I took once when I was in high school, I tried to write a bad fan novel of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and I broke all the rules. I had Captain Picard join the Enterprise's weekly officer poker game and upstage Will Riker with a royal flush in the first poker game. And when I look back and think about it, I didn't capture the voice of any of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. I was telling my own story with my own characters, ascribing lines randomly to people. In this feels like it's maintained the rules of the sandbox, and you have your own original character, so you don't have to worry about finding an existing character's voice. I should say original because that's wrong to me, because I'm wrong there because it is an adaptation of a comic, but it felt like it belongs in the Star Wars universe, and that's something that Rogue One, a Star Wars story, didn't actually capture.
Well, and it's like the Charlie Bucket thing. You hire a kid because they'll run the Willy Wonka's factory the right way. So, but with that in mind, let's introduce all the Charlie Buckets that are running this program. So we have some of the, I guess you would call them head honchos of the program. We have on our show, every show will be a guest, but we have a couple today. We have Jesse, Phoenix, Ruck, and I see Halv, but people are saying I've heard it Halt. Which one is it?
It would be Halv to most people, yeah.
I see. So like a T. I see. So thank you all for coming on this show today. Especially you, Jesse.
Thank you for having us.
So let's go down the list here and do the obvious first question. Jesse, what do you do on the audio drama? What don't you do?
Oh, that's a good question. An odd hodgepodge. Due to necessity, I gravitated a little bit more towards just writing the music, and I had I really liked the source material for Asherad and Darth Krayt, and I thought it had a lot of potential to tell a slightly different story interjected in there as well. So that's kind of what we are seeding throughout it. But at the same time, we have a lot of respect for the source material, love Star Wars, and we do not want to pull any schmanchens. And more like, I don't know, I guess adaptations like Marvel did with the comics, with the MCU. Like, yeah, it's different, but it's the same. And also just in the interest of format, we didn't want to do a word for word adaptation. So, and other than that, seeding random ideas, I guess that about sums it up. Maybe an occasional voice or, hey, tweak this here and there. But really, the stellar team here are the ones that are really putting all this together.
Well, I should also mention to the Sith Spawn that if you are interested in Jesse's voice, you can find him. Am I allowed to plug this?
Oh, sure.
Sure.
My nearly non-existent
YouTube
channel, sure.
Also going to be Han Solo on Thory Times.
Oh, that's
Thor Sky. Yeah, that guy. Thor Skywalker.
That's better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He is, if you're not aware, he runs a YouTube channel called Thor Skywalker. Sorry if I wasn't original. But Jesse is going to be Thor is running his own version of the sequel trilogy, and Jesse will be Han Solo. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, so let's get on.
It should be interesting.
It should. So let's get on with it to these three people that are the real stars of the show, according to Han here. Phoenix. Hello.
Hello.
So what is your job in this train?
First of all, I want to say Jesse's being a little too modest, but whatever. That's his speciality. I am the schedule keeper, the keeper of those keys. I can tell you I've annoyed every single one of these guys with my scheduling. Then I also I polish the scripts on the final go over, and I also do casting.
And what a difficult job that is. In fact, Sispawn, if you were on the Discord page of, what was it, a month ago? We posted a brief little blurb of Ruck and Phoenix having a chit chat about not only encouraging people to continue if they didn't get a part, but also just how utterly difficult it is to make some of these final decisions. So I do not envy you that job at all.
It's fun, and it's really fun finding voice actors who are amateurs, because of the voices you heard, Nick Russo, who is our narrator, is the only one that has any experience doing anything like that.
Right. So, and it shows when he does his work. But the fact that you found good talent, however amateur or not, it speaks to your ability to have a good ear for this. So
thank you.
We are all lucky to have you
behind me. All Jesse and Ruck are all part of that too.
Speaking of Ruck, what do you do, Ruck?
Oh man, quite the intro. I do a couple of things. I'm mostly known for doing the first adaptations of the script. So I go through and I just kind of write the basic plot of each episode. Then I hand it off to whoever gets it next for whatever they need to do. I'm behind Miss Phoenix over here on the casting team. I help out where I can with that. I sit down with all of our voice actors and listen to them for the audio and everything. So I make sure that they're kind of getting the scene and make sure they know what they're doing. I help out with the visuals. Our video editor, I help him out. I kind of give him basic stuff to do for the little things and animations that you saw in there. And I think that's all I really do.
I was almost expecting you to hear you say, and while everybody's working together, I'm the one that orders and pays for the pizza. And
yep. I'm the one that makes sure all of our family is fed and loved and cared for.
Well, Ruck, that's a better introduction or description than what HopNScotch gave me at one of our remotes for our other podcast. He described what everybody does, and he gave these great things, and he looks and he goes, Scott's the wallet.
I felt so bad after I said that. It was at a convention, too, so anybody that was there, Scott here's the wallet. He just opens up and money come out.
I'm the talentless wallet. Forget the fact that I'm the guy who put the whole thing up off the ground and figured it all out. I'm the wallet.
I have since rectified that error, but he will not let me forget it for the rest of our natural lives. So
when you let me forget about the impending destruction of America by Saddam Hussein in 1989, or the impending war that was going to start over Taiwan that I predicted in 92 that didn't, then maybe I'll let you forget about that.
Touche. I guess that's not going to get dropped. Anywho, let's bring it back to Halt. Hello, Halt. Now, before we go on, I have been told that you are not in our neck of the woods.
No,
North
I'm
America.
I'm pretty far across the pond from you. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so we'll just leave it at that. But what do you do for this wild ride?
I think my most official and awesome title in this whole gig is that I'm the lore master. But mostly that means that I'm on the editing team. So when Rook has written the basic skeleton and basic plot points and dialogue and everything for a new episode, he hands it off to me. I try to figure out, okay, what can we draw from the lore of Star Wars as we know it, what has happened earlier in the series, what will happen later, and try to just tie it all together before I hand it off to Phoenix for finishing polish. And I also have the very difficult job of being on the casting team as well. So, yeah, that is a hard job, but it's so much fun.
I assume, and I really enjoy the title Lore Master. Please keep that title. In fact, I
will fight for it.
I assume that you will do so well that we would just have you replace the current Star Wars story group. But we can
Wish. Sometimes I say something, oh, can we do this? Nope, because of this.
Yes. In fact, I've been told, I believe, that you are somehow married to Phoenix. What was the term that was used one day? Phoenix, you used this term.
Oh yeah. Well, he's the husband.
That's it.
Oh yeah, we've been married for how long is it? 2 months? 3?
Mid-July.
Mid-July. Okay. So a bit more. Yeah, it kind of started as a joke, but then it kind of grew since we started working together on this project, and working that closely with a person, just digging into a text, trying to pull in lore, trying to find the right words and everything. You kind of get close, and so we kind of became a married team at some point, and we have at least fooled one person, haven't we, Jesse?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, just for disclosure, we are not actually married.
Well, thank God.
I thought it was plausible.
Thank God you said that, because the first time she said that, for a moment I was about to say, "Oh, that must be difficult being so far apart," and then.
See, that's what I thought. But I was like, oh, but that's nice, great. And then I realized, like a work wife, work husband thing. Yeah. Oh, I got it. I get you now. I get things sometimes.
I'm dense. So, we know what people do here. Let's stop talking about my density and go on to how everyone got involved with the audio drama. I can say for myself, it got started with actually I met a lot of you. I met Jesse on the Thori time, and he's the one that plugged me into this. But what's the story of the rest of you? I guess we'll just keep going down the line. Phoenix,
you there?
All right, well
she's not listening to us.
Why your mic's off, honey?
Oh no.
More reason for us to think you are married.
She's just embarrassed and blushing.
There she is.
Hello.
Mom's clear, kid.
It's okay, guys. I was I had the mute button on, and I'm famous for that, by the way. They're always just like, Phoenix, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Yeah. So did you do I have to repeat the question?
Oh, no, I did. I could hear everything on your end. It's just you couldn't hear anything on mine.
All right. So fill us in.
I actually met Jesse through Thori time. It was for the last round of the Han and Leia audition. And I was just like, this is the guy that I think has the best shot of being Han. So
I agree.
I'm going to, go out there and get it. And I private messaged him. I was like, hey, do you want to run lines? Because I have never done anything like this before, voice acting wise. And so we ran lines, and then he was just on one of the calls was just like, yeah, I've got this idea of doing a project about Darth Krayt. And I was like, oh, that was something that I had, I'm a huge extended universe fan. So I had heard of Darth Krayt and thought that was definitely something that I wanted to do.
All right. It's funny you mentioned the Han audition. Jesse, in fact, we'll come to you next to how you got drawn in. But when I heard your first take on Han and Thori time, I just thought, why am I trying this job? He's so good.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I thought you were quite good too. Just FYI, I thought you were my competition on that one.
So, well, I was for a bit, but that's all right. I was like, damn, this guy's good. I hope he gets it. Anyway,
well,
so
thanks.
how did you get plugged into this whole audio drama?
I have been wanting to write a very particular kind of story for a long time, and try as I did to come up with an original story setting, which I came up with a few, but I just thought, nah. And then after, getting involved with auditioning for Thor's project, and I just thought, God, it'd really be great to do this with Star Wars as a more appropriate vessel for it. And there's already, it's the groundwork in that story is already there. It's really only a bit of some sidewinding, a bit of extra stuff that I want to put in throughout there. So yeah, I started thinking about it a bit more, also having no idea what was going to happen with Thor's project. So I thought, well, I'm sorry, my dog is whining, so I'm trying to get away from her noise. That's why I'm wandering. Let me close the door here. Yeah, that should help. Yeah, and then so I just started talking about it and thought, oh, well, it'd be a fun thing to do as a backup or as an aside. And then, it very quickly started turning into something very promising. And that's about the gist, I think.
All righty. Well, I'm glad you started it because I am very excited for this project, and I'm very excited to be part of it, by the way. So thank you for bringing me in.
Can I ask a follow-up
thanks for being
question
on
to Jesse?
Yeah.
So you said there's some sidewinding. Without giving away too much, unless you don't want to at all, what is the sidewinding deviation you want to do that you're kind of looking to tweak it a touch?
So when George Lucas first did the original trilogy, he was very much into Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung, and it shows in those movies. And I myself am very much into that, especially versions of the hero's journey, but also in the more Jungian school of thought, it gets a little meta. But I thought there was a lot of groundwork there in the Asherad Krayt storyline. Wanted to do so. I also wanted to see if we could evolve the Force a little bit conceptually and see what we could do there. So, without giving too much away, I think that about sums it up. Unless there's more you'd want to know there.
No, that's a good.
I won't make a random aside. As far as our trailer goes, it is very unconventional trailer. It's it's more just showing scene 4. We decided to do that. Instead of doing just a trailer, thought it would be better just to show kind of the general format to give an idea, though.
At first I thought that myself, but as it continued, I thought this is better than a trailer for a few reasons.
Well, good.
One, because a conventional trailer, especially these days, might as well just tell you the whole film. There's an older episode on our other podcast where I make fun of this, where they just seem to take a song from the 80s or 90s, slow it down to a glacial pace, and then have some woman singing it like, I don't know, pick a song. I wanna rock.
Yeah.
I want to rock. And then in the background, someone's just whispering like, what do you think you're doing? This is the end. And it's just so utterly boring. Maybe it was cool the first time, but maybe even the second time. But this is much better because I get to get a feel for what the drama is gonna be like, it will look like, and it doesn't give everything away.
Now it is also it's horribly out of context to jump into like just some Tusken Raiders in their huts going about their business, but the backstory is all there. It's not a typical tribe. Asherad's dad is a Jedi, former Jedi, so it's a bit different of a tribe. So
yeah, well, but
it'll make sense in context.
You can follow it well enough. Okay, there's a kid who's angry at his parents. They want to fight. Okay, I understand. I dig. So. Okay, so thank you, Jesse. Let's move to and Scott will want to mention this later on about that trailer I made fun of. We can do that later. Don't play it.
Look, I had it ready to play and queued up. He chose a different song and some very unfortunate word choices.
Yeah, we'll reference it later if you really want to hear it. But at any rate, let's go back to Krayt here. Rook, how'd you get tangled up in this?
I was so I met Phoenix, Jesse, and Halv. I believe all three of you guys I met at the same roughly around the same time during story time. We all kind of met through there. I would say out of all of them, I was closest with Phoenix, and we one day she texted me because I had just moved from Hawaii to a different state in the U.S. And she texted me one night as I'm in a hotel we're trying to look for a house, and she goes, "Hey, do you have like 45 spare minutes to write something for me?" And I went, "Sure." And she was just like, "I need you to write something about Darth Krayt." And I was like, "Oh, like the old comic books and stuff." So I spent about like 20 minutes. I watched a video about it. I read a little bit of, I used to read a couple of them. I've read most of them. At this point, I should probably go back and reread a lot of them. Because after like the beginning arcs, I haven't read much of them. But I know that I was just bored and I just wanted something to do at that time, because obviously during this crazy time of quarantine, none of us are really doing too much. So I wrote something and I sent it to her and to Jesse, and they both went, "Cool, you want to write it?" I went, "Sure."
Whoops, okay.
And then we kind of just got involved, and everything just kind of started going really quickly, and we had voice actors, and then we're starting to do audio, and now we're here.
Well,
so that's kind of how I became involved.
Well, in the time I've interacted with you, it's been a lot of fun, and I can say that I understand completely why they brought you on. So,
me too.
I would just like to say this for reference for everybody out there. I am the youngest person out of us four currently. The age gap between me and Jesse is the same age gap between Han Solo and Princess Leia in A New Hope. Fact quote from Miss Phoenix. Credit where credit's due on that one.
You wouldn't know it talking to him. You wouldn't know it, but yeah, lo and behold, young Matt here.
I would concur.
Only chronologically, though.
Yeah. My brain's very developed for a young 20-year-old kid.
That it is.
20. Wow. I'm the venerable one here. Venerable being generous. I'll just say I'll just say it.
We're
I'm
probably
40.
about the same age. Oh, okay. We're not quite the same age. You got a few years on me yet, but close.
Close. All right. Excellent.
Very close. Yeah.
Thank God. I didn't want to be the senior citizen in the youth center,
you're good,
so to
man.
speak.
You're good.
At any rate. So let's go to our final person. Halt, how did you get involved in this?
Yeah, I was just trying to put that into perspective here for myself. I was brought on last of the four of us. Like Rook mentioned, we all kind of met on Skywalker's story time thing, where I mainly interacted with Rukstar, of course. We were kind of a lot of active then, boosting other people, giving feedback on their things, just having a good time. And also Phoenix, who helped me try to develop an American accent for my audition for one of the characters in that audio drama. Do not ask me to do it. I cannot. I have not been practicing. I'm sorry for all that. But me and Phoenix started talking how we were both like trying to write a story, write books specifically. And we had a few talks when we just sat down and went like, okay, so this is the basic premise. This is what I want. This is what I have so far. And we'd ask each other questions about like, okay, so why are these characters doing that? Why is that thing there? What kind of motivation does this character have? And after a few days, Phoenix came to me and said, "Okay, so we have this this thing. I don't even think you said exactly what it was. You said that Jesse, you know who that is, right?" And I'm like, "No, who's that?" "Oh, he has an idea to turn Darth Krayt into an audio drama," and I'm just sitting there like a big question mark, going, "Huh?" And we have Rukstar doing the scripts, and he's really good at just like getting all of these ideas and just slamming them down to a piece of paper. And I'm going to be on the editing and just polishing them up. And what we need is a guy who can just get in there right in the middle and just flesh it out and try to figure out what's going on in the background and where are we going and where have we been and all of that. And I said, sure, let's try it. That could be fun. And so I got into it, and I don't think I can leave at this point.
Nope.
No, we wouldn't let you.
There is a symbolic chain around your ankles.
Very symbolic.
You've been
yes.
held hostage.
Very symbolic and very chain.
Well, this is where you're supposed to hold up that little sign that you made, the one that says, "Please save me, I'm being held prisoner."
This one?
Yeah.
So now I do want to make one more mention before we get to the next questions here. There's two I'll ask of everyone, and you can chime in as you feel. But if you, Ruck, to add to your regular responsibilities, Sith Spawn, he recently did a review of an 80s sci-fi horror film with us over on our other podcast. So if you're interested in hearing more of Ruck and his take on that, well, I'll plug the show later, but
The Amazing World of Terrorvision.
Oh, what a film. What a film. What a theme song. At any rate, so these next two questions are for everyone, and you can chime in as you wish. The first one will be, what can we expect from season 1? And what are you pulling from the original story of Darth Krayt? For example, Jesse, when you told me about this, I read Darth Krayt and thought, ooh, like Legacy Comics with Cade Skywalker? Ooh, I have those, and I loved that story arc. So I thought, even if I don't get involved in anything, I'm going there. I want to hear about this. So what are you pulling from that you're able to divulge at this point?
Okay, and anybody on the team here, please stop me if I get carried away. If I pull a Tom Holland, somebody be my Benedict Cumberbatch. All right,
Bendel Smooch Cumberbooch.
Get ready to mute his audio, right?
Yes.
Scott, have my finger on the button.
As honestly as much as humanly possible, because it's there's so much I really like about that whole story. It just. But especially for adapting for an audio drama, so it's a different format. Comic script doesn't exactly go so well, so that's the first part. Second of all, let's see, how do I describe this? I really wanted to see what it would be like to, if this makes any sense, weave a story version of the integration of the Shadow via Carl Jung. No, I'm not sure if I should go too farther than that, but this would be a little bit later. We're doing a bit different take on the dark side and fleshing out the Force in a bit more of an evolved way. But yeah, we like all the characters for the most part. We might have a few new ones, might have some changes here and there, but by and large, the general plot points are, I think, about the same.
As for season 1, I think a basic plot synopsis is we're focusing on the early life of Asherad Het and his transitions and his early life being a Tusken Raider and meeting some friendly people and some not so friendly people along the way, and kind of discovering oneself through him.
Thank you, Ruck. That reminds me. when I first mentioned this idea, because the storyline is so long in the comics, I had no intention of doing the full thing. It was more like, oh, let's pick up when he's mid-30s or something, and then until the end. And then Ruck did a few rough drafts for scripts, and he came back and he's like, okay, so here's the format I've got in mind. We're going to do 5 seasons. And it's going to be the whole story. And I was like, oh God, wait. But then very soon we've got a very well-oiled machine. Things are working well. And it's very feasible. And the story deserves it too, just for adapting. There's a lot of very cool stories in the whole Krayt Asherad story arc. So yeah, it's working out. So there we have it.
Okay, anyone else? Or did he somehow cover it all?
Anything else goes into spoilers territory, I think. So
Oh, no.
Excellent job.
Oh, thank you. It might be a little too soon for spoilers, but
yeah.
I will really quickly say, in one of our first meetings after I had kind of come up with that idea of, we can do 5 seasons kind of focusing on the main 5 points of his life. And then as soon as I mentioned early life, Jesse went, oh, I'm not interested in that. my entire brain went, I have to redo everything. And then I kind of I showed him what I had, and he was like, oh, okay, you know what? I actually kind of like this. I'm like, okay, thank goodness.
So this season has very much been writing wise. The team. I told them the ideas I wanted to seed here and there, and especially once Halt got brought on board as well, or Halv got brought on. I always say that wrong. Got brought on board, and I saw kind of what he was doing. I was like, this guy just already gets exactly what I have in mind. Splendid. I can back off a bit more and do other parts that need to be done on the periphery. But more the kind of it's already being seeded very much in this season, but more the story I want to tell is going to start coming into fruition much more season 2 and beyond. So but it's still very much in there thanks to these lovely people here. So yeah,
he is so bloody modest.
That's
he does a lot of stuff, while a lot of what he does won't be seen by the general audience. He does so much behind the scenes.
I like to be behind the scenes.
And I would say he is behind the scenes, because today is the first time I've ever spoken with him. And all I've ever hear is, well, Jesse, we got to check with Jesse. Jesse's doing this. Jesse. And I thought, I know who he is, but I've never spoken with him my entire life.
The way I would describe it is Jesse's like right here, and then me, Phoenix, and Halv are all right here, and he just kind of pushes up, so you only see us 3, and then he just kind of pokes his head out when necessary.
He really
that is the perfect analogy. Yes,
you are the Kaiser Sose of this project.
Ooh. Oh, thank you.
You are literally the Kaiser Sose of this project. Or if you want me to tone it down, back in my high school days, there was a show called My So-Called Life. And there was a character named Tito that everyone referred to. Tito's coming here. Tito's going there. Tito's doing this. Yet we never once saw Tito. Yet he was the fulcrum upon which the show rested. So you can pick whichever one you want. I would say Tito.
Those are both symbolic archetypes that are just flatteringly right up my alley. So.
Well, then.
I'm not sure how freaky it is for somebody to be complimented by a Kaiser Source drop, but in a nice way. Let's run with that.
And once the show is over,
could be worse.
Once the audio drama ends, he'll go.
It could be worse,
and you'll never see him again.
Oh yeah.
They could just say,
I'm gonna hang around. I'm gonna hang around. I'm definitely gonna hang around. Maybe poke my head out a little bit more. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Does anyone else have to add in before we pull this ship out of hyperspace?
We really can't wait for everybody to kind of listen to this. We've all put probably hundreds of hours into this project at this point.
Easy. Yeah.
Yeah, very easily hundreds of hours. Just kind of, I know I've definitely pulled all-nighters writing stuff. I can say for a fact that Phoenix and Halv get up at God knows how early to work on stuff. Jesse works nonstop on getting the project out there and pushing this. So I just kind of want to put any skeptical fans at ease that we are here for you. We're not here to make a story and try to get something out there to be like, oh yeah, we're capitalizing on Star Wars fans being angry. We're capitalizing on making the fans happy again, and just we're capitalizing on making sure that the Star Wars fans get the Star Wars that they deserve, and not some backwards Mary Sue that was bad, then very bad, and then tried to redeem itself, but didn't end up succeeding in that fact.
For fans by
Whoopsie daisy.
Fans make the best.
Yes,
story.
very much so.
Yeah, I can reassure you guys that we're all massive Star Wars nerds and fans.
Oh, yeah.
And we have gotten into arguments, like legitimate arguments over like, we should go this way. No, we should go this way.
I've never yelled, but I've definitely almost punched my computer screen.
Well,
Yeah.
and you know,
But we have yelled, but we have laughed as well so hard.
Yes.
And virtual hugs being sent over the internet every day to each other. So this project has its highs and lows. And we're very passionate about just bringing a really good Star Wars story to fruition for everyone.
Jesse's motto is whatever is best for the project. So if we have to, whatever sacrifices we make, it is for the best of the project.
Well, and I was going to say, you'll see in subsequent KOTOP episodes, Sith Spawn, that I will be having different games, mostly related to Star Wars lore, quizzing on characters and what have you, and count on a few of these people being guests again. So you'll get to see the fact that they do have Star Wars chops. This isn't the veritable fan of the. I always compare it. I'm a huge fan of Ohio State football. As long as you don't ask me the name of the players, their winning streak. I could tell you their colors, where they play, and if you scream OH, I'll scream back IO. That's the end of it. Oh, and I love when they beat Michigan. I'm not one of, I am the most.
If anything, we are embarrassingly too knowledgeable about Star Wars and the EU, especially, and that whereas there have been some areas we've needed to fill in with our knowledge of the issues for this story, we have been doing so. So yes, yeah. If anything, it's more like maybe a bit too much, but
it'll serve us well. So
yes, that's the point.
I think that's about time to wrap this up. But as I said, real quick, if you are Sispawn, if you're interested in hearing more from Ruck or myself, you could tune into a podcast called Sci-Fi Malady. That's my other podcast with Scott. Not mine, I should say. Excuse me. Ours.
No. It's yours. I'm just the wallet.
That's right. So, without the wallet, it couldn't work. So. But that's the podcast we're on, and Ruck has done an episode with us this month. We just recorded it today, in fact, so look for that to drop within the next week or so. Otherwise, I think that's it. Thank you for everyone for coming out and enlightening us on the ins and outs of the Krayt audio drama. Looking
if you would like to find more, Krayt audio drama related things, please follow us on Twitter and on Facebook at Cosmic Anomaly Production Studios,
which we are just about to officially get going in that department as too. Yeah. As well. Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Yes, and thank you very much for having us. By the way, it has been a pleasure.
So much.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
Hey, do you guys hear that? It feels like a Darth Krishner is coming in.
Oh no.
This is enough for today's lesson, Sith Spawn, for I grow weary of you. Begone whilst you amuse me still. Return from whence you came and ruminate on the dark truths I have passed on. Let them fuel your passion for Darth Krayt and return to me when I beckon you for our next lesson on the Krayt Off-Topic official podcast, assuming you survive your lesson.
This has been a Cosmic Anomaly Studios production. Directed and produced by Goozer, produced by Rukstar, edited by Raving Lunatic Media, and hosted by Lord HopNScotch.